let's go ahead and jump north of the border for a little bit. In case you don't know, the CFL finalized their return to play protocols, and they're going to start their season on August 5th, or at least they're planning to do that. And they'll play 14 games and then wrap it up on December 13th, I believe, with the Grey Cup. This is going to be a very interesting setup, and they said that they're probably going to have some fans, though not at full capacity, which makes sense.
Do they have an idea about how they want to go about it? Do they want to do about it how the Major League Baseball is doing it? How you got to you show them the results of your COVID test, or you give them the vaccine card?
I haven't dove too far into that, but Randy Ambrosi said that they do need the approval of public health officials across the various provinces, and then government permission for the fans, obviously. Because as we've said many times before, ticket revenue is paramount for them. And the teams in the East would probably have a harder time securing fans than teams in the West, so it could be a more regional kind of thing. I'm not saying they're going to bubble it, but it might be that games are only played in Regina, Alberta, and British Columbia. It's possible, but I think the league probably needs to get back out there, just get their visibility back. And, we've been over that plenty of times. I don't think we need to go through
too
all
much, but it's pretty safe to say, regardless of the officials, we could confidently say there's no bubble.
Yes.
That sound about right? I just don't think they have the funds to go with the bubble, because it's like, okay, we're playing every, Sunday. Okay, great. What are we doing between that? Is not an answer.
Yeah,
I mean, are they
true.
all? I mean, do you fly there Sunday morning, fly back Sunday night, and do the same thing for, the whole season? I mean, who's going to be funding that?
That's a really good question, and I don't have all the answers either. I'm not even sure Randy Ambrosi has all the answers to that, but
I don't think he does either. But could you imagine, like, the guys just keep their equipment there, and if they're not vaccinated, they just get a test real quick before they get on the plane?
yeah, there could be something like that.
It's like there's one site, and they're all just they just alternate for like Saturday and Sunday or something.
It's totally possible.
It's like everyone got their COVID test. Yes, you got your luggage. Yes, for Toronto and all we stand for.
Well, I mean, Toronto's in the east. They would be flying out to Calgary or Winnipeg, one of those places.
Exactly. I thought I'd pick an East team. I'm not saying for Saskatchewan or Edmonton. Wait, we're staying here. Although you're absolutely right in the fact of the regard of saying, hey, if we're going to be playing at this time, could we at least go in with the name when the season starts?
Yeah, we haven't heard much on the name front, and I'm pretty sure it'll come out by then.
We hope. Could you just imagine? It's like week 3 now. Proudly presenting name debut, Edmonton Elk, and there was much joy. Yay! Yeah, it's like Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah, but I'll say one last thing on that front. An elk is definitely not an apex predator. It is hunted by, well, humans, bears, other things. Even though elk calls can be quite fearful and you don't want to see them big rack of antlers coming at your face, I would Eagles, they're higher on their respective food chain. I'd
Yes.
really. So I'm still reserving my opinion for Eagles.
The
I
only
do.
thing that's intimidating about an elk is when you see it in the middle of the road and you're driving on it.
Yeah, of course, some human beings are dumb enough to charge them in national parks and whatnot. So it is what it is. Honestly, I've still come around a little bit on the idea of evergreens. It's still not my favorite, but I don't think I'd mind it at this point. But anyhow, a big question for me regarding the return to play protocols is that if you're having your season start in August and go through December ish, how are you going to show your games, particularly in the United States? Even amongst Canadian audiences, you're competing against NFL games on Sundays. And, for Saturday games, at least in the US market, you're competing against college. So I don't know if the CFL, if they're going to try and spice it up a little bit, maybe have games on different days of the week. I think it would be more interesting if they did.
Could
The
they do
only
a
thing
weekday
is,
slot?
if you were to have a game on a Wednesday night or something like that, then maybe you won't have fans in the stands. That's your big problem.
Well, I mean, the hard part that kind of just makes it interesting is, I mean, if you think about last year, because of the COVID deadline, guidelines and because the NFL, let's face it, they did not give a damn. But the one thing is that we saw, and I don't think we'll ever see this again, for every single day of the week, we had a game played at least once.
It's true.
You're like, oh, Monday. Oh, because of Trayson, it's Wednesday. And we're thinking to ourselves, what the hell do you mean Wednesday? Now, granted, there's a lot of Americans that will show up to that game and the next day call out of work. There are some people that will do that. But I was actually going to ask you about that. Could they draw something during a weeknight? Not just in tickets, but again, I think the biggest thing as far as the revenue was to get a streaming deal. Could they get the viewership on a weekday or a weeknight rather?
Well, that just seems like the $1 million question, doesn't it?
$1 million that they wish they could have, but it's so far away from them, they can't see it in front of their face. That is miles deep away for them.
Right. I mean, I've seen a lot of people seemingly suggesting that the CFL is making a mistake going with the XFL, that that the CFL should continue to focus on the fans they have and not try to expand their markets. But I know we've gone over plenty of times that what they're doing isn't working all that well. So maybe
If it's not working, you got to fix it. It's not like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right now, no money's coming in, and now you have to act and force yourself to find yourself a result. I think that's clear as day. It's an easy explanation. It's not rocket science, and it's not too much reinventing the wheel. It's every time where you get guys in a meeting around the table and you say, what do we do from here? They have the ideas in front of them. There's so many people that could just say it to them right to their face. But for some reason, they're scared and they're in denial for it. And we've also said that several times.
True. My whole point is, even if you're looking at a market expansion, the setup you have for 2021 is not ideal because of timing and, running right up against the NFL and college in America. Trying to break into that, there's going to be some difficulty. Now, I don't know if you could have a situation where you'd have a Tuesday night special game that you would maybe could get ESPN to broadcast.
Yeah.
That would probably screw with the players a lot, having to potentially play on Tuesday and then turn around and play the next week. That's one of those things that would just have to be worked out. Although I know in recent CFL schedules there were weeks where there were only 3 games played, meaning 3 teams had byes. And if you're going to have a showcase game like that in the middle of the week, then you could give players the week off after that. That would be something that could be done. And I guess regarding the crowds in the middle of the week, obviously NBA, NHL, they're playing games all nights of the week.
And it started in
So,
what month again?
but I mean, the point is with the CFL games, like you could probably get people in the gate even on a Tuesday night.
I think so. What month do they plan to start again? Isn't it
August.
December? Oh,
August
August.
5th.
August. Now, August is a little bit different. If they're trying to start in August, I actually think that's okay because the only thing that's starting at that point, I mean, you got baseball going on. July seems to be the only thing that's going on is Major League Baseball. August, you start, I mean, it's really the startup of football, the actual good stuff.
Right.
And then September is when the NFL starts. And then it really depends on the NBA and the NHL and when they start to get things over with. Now, both we do not know when they start up because they're waiting for the completion of their seasons before they get into next season, just like last year. They waited, they had their championship, and then they're like, okay, in 2 weeks they decided what was going on, and they had a short off season.
Right.
This one, I'm not so sure. And plus, the Olympics also might affect it. It affected the season as well for the NBA. I don't think they got so much to compete with early on outside baseball. But if you're a diehard football fan and that's on in August, I don't think you're complaining.
No, I wouldn't. So maybe it would be an opportunity to gain a little bit of a foothold, but yeah, maintaining that could be a little tricky. But yeah, that's certainly going to be the subject of a lot of discussion up north of the border. But I think I've said about all that I have on that issue.